Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harrogate series. Harrogate is a large borough, one of the 11 districts of North Yorkshire. It's got 139 civil parishes. Which one are we in this episode? Welcome back to Harrogate again, everybody. Now, this place has the word bridge in its name, and there's a really good reason for that, because as you can see behind me, there is a bridge. This is the first of the Hewick twins. Welcome to Bridge Hewick. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Bridge Hewick, bridge at High Farm. For centuries, getting across major rivers has been a task which humans have learned to manage, and pretty well it has to be said. We've become so good at building bridges that quite often we don't even think about them, we just cross them. Here in today's parish, I wonder how many of you have travelled over the River Ure, using the bridge linking it to Ripon. I imagine it's a fair old number. This is Bridge Hewick, a vital crossing point of the Ure in Roman times. It remains a pretty important crossing today, given the amount of traffic that uses it. Bridge Hewick is a village located just over a mile from the centre of the city of Ripon. The bridge, an arched affair built of stone, is exactly 1 mile from the cathedral. That's because it's the starting point of the Sanctuary Way walk, known to many a rambler. We'll likely meet the Sanctuary Way walk a few times as we travel around Ripon. It does baffle me a little bit as to why the bridge is the beginning, because it's quite a dangerous place to attempt any walking. It is, though, without a doubt, the biggest and most well-known landmark here. Bridge Hewick has a few other bits too. There's a pub called the Blackamoor, a handful of farms, and some lush open countryside that's just fabulous. I didn't really expect anything less out here though. Let's move. Let's start with Hewick Bridge. Located right at the edge of the parish, this carries the B6265 between Boroughbridge and Ripon. There's been a crossing point over the Ure here since Roman times and was a vital point on the route to Isurium Brigantium, which is now known as Aldborough. The current bridge is 17th century and formed of 6 segmental arches. It's narrow and traffic wishing to cross it has to give way to anything that's on it. The bridge is the starting point of a 10-mile long walking loop that marks the edge of the Sanctuary of Ripon, a 1-mile radius from the cathedral. Well, let me tell you folks that crossing this bridge on foot is definitely not an easy task. I've just done it myself so I could get a couple of extra shots of it. Couldn't get anything of the river because stopping on the bridge is virtually impossible with the amount of traffic that uses it. It's so narrow. I get questions occasionally as to why I wear high-vis clothing, and yes, it is a walking advert for the channel, but the main reason is simply safety. Situations like this, I definitely need the high-vis clothing. Be bright, be seen, and don't walk over the bridge here in Bridge Hewick. Now, let's go and find the village to which this bridge belongs. Not far from the bridge is the Blackamoor Inn, perhaps the only other real landmark of note here. Inside, this has several things which allude to the farming heritage of the area. The bar is decorated with old blow lamps, farming, livestock and beauty spot pictures, whilst the restaurant has a collection of farming implements. I mean, it does stand to reason, given that the pub is literally on the edge of a farmyard. Bridge Hewick has at least 2 farms and will pass another one shortly. The pub also has the advantage of being on this busy road, making it a popular place to stop for food. Now, I will stress that walking along this road isn't recommended. The B6265 has no footpath, so I had to use the grass verge instead. Mind you, if you do attempt it, you do at least get a great view of the surrounding countryside. The fields alongside the riverbank occupy some gentle rolling hills. So, are there any houses here? Yeah, of course there are, they're just a bit sparse. Here's a good example of one you'd expect to see in Bridge Hewick, and it's pretty nice too. It has to be said though, the population is small and you're more likely to encounter animals than people in these parts, like these sheep. We're now on Ray Lane, which links the B6265 to Copt Hewick. There's another farmyard up here, and so too are most of Bridge Hewick's residential properties. None of these houses or outbuildings are listed. The only listed building in the parish is Hewick Bridge at Grade 2. Ray Lane isn't straight. After it passes the farms, it bends sharply to the right, and on a raised embankment are 8 houses with a dark wooden cladding. Having seen examples firsthand, these reminded me a lot of the type of house you might see in a Norwegian village. Now there's a country I'd love to do this job in. After the corner, the road straightens out a bit and starts to climb a hill up to Copt Hewick. That makes sense, the word Copt means peak or summit. There's a bus stop along here. Bridge Hewick is served by the number 83, which runs between York and Ripon. Alighting here must feel like you're in the middle of nowhere though. With not much more to see up the hill towards Copt Hewick, I opted to turn around and head back to where I'd parked. There was just time to mark Bridge Hewick off the Harrogate list by way of this parish notice board. That's 1 Hewick down and 1 to go. And that's really all there is to Bridge Hewick. It's a really small place, and notable only really for the pub and of course the bridge, as well as of course the other farms that are dotted around. But generally speaking, it's a tiny place in a very rural, quiet, peaceful area. It does have a bigger neighbour of course, and that is Copt Hewick, and that's where we're going next. And we are done with Bridge Hewick, but this place has a much bigger brother. Join me next time when we'll be exploring the ins and outs of that place. Copt Hewick has some rather fetching features, including its village hall, its church and its clock tower, whose loud bell even chimes the hours. See you there soon. Thanks for watching this video folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already, it really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.